So day 6 included testimonies from Eric Culberson and Officer Cabral. So Officer Cabral was the person that was recalled to introduce the body cam video that showed the police stop after the shooting. Prosecution plays the video to the jurors, showing Kelsey Harris handcuffed, saying to Megan, you okay? As Megan limped away to the ambulance. Also in handcuffs, from a different officer's body cam from a vantage point, Meg can be seen seated, cuffed, and bleeding from her feet, limping past Kelsey toward the ambulance. The footage is also Kelsey on the ground with Tory and his driver nearby, spread out and face down in the streets per the police orders. Kelsey can be heard crying and sounds kind of frantic as Officer Cable is tending to her. That meant to be say Cabral. My mistake. I don't know why it says Cable on that. TA presents photo of the vehicle, left passenger side with a rail along the side. TA Kavita asks, would it elevate someone? Correct. What was Kelsey like during this whole ordeal? She was distraught, crying, and was asking about Meg and if she was okay. Things like that. Prosecutors played the diss track by Kelsey Harris called Busting Back and highlighted parts. You know it wasn't me. All you had to do was clear your best friend's name. This was done to confirm that she was mad at Megan for allegedly failing to defend her. Examination of Officer Cabral, who was the arresting officer on the night. I think she was also on that body cam footage where she was basically arresting Kelsey and taking her into her custody. So here is her cross-examination. Let's begin. So he goes on to say, MG would be McDesian. Check out the key to know what all these acronyms mean, what the color scheme means if you haven't done already. Do download the transcripts. It would do it. A lot of work went into it, basically. A lot of work went into it. And I think if you want to know all the information regarding this case, that is the best place to find it. I have inserted into the references as well as the description page of this. All the trial exhibits, all the evidence is all there. Everything that has been compiled for this is literally been methodical, and I hope you find value so that it can, if you feel gaslighted in any way, it can put your mind to ease, because this is the factual reporting that has been going on for the case. So without further ado, let's continue. So he says, did you hear a conversation between Kelsey and Tory as they were all cuffed up and lined up on the sidewalk, standing a few feet with each other? Cabral responds, I don't recall. McDesson says, you were brought here to attest the footage. Did you see the demeanor of my client as he was being arrested? I didn't see his demeanor, no. Couldn't gauge much. I didn't talk to him. How was my client's demeanor? Was he upset? I didn't hear him crying like I did Kelsey. Did you hear Tory Lanez say, Mego, you're gonna be okay? You okay? Objection was called. I'm speculating he'll be testifying because that is it's improper. The client is like, you can't say what your client was meant to say. So I'm guessing that was the objection. But yeah, the judge sustained it and goes on to say, next question. MG goes on to say, were you told that I may be asking you about my client being distraught? No. Are you being truthful that you did not see my client's demeanor? Yes. Ma'am, are you being truthful here today? I am. No further questions. So that was the cross-examination of Cabral. Now on to Jody Leto, who was the investigator for the LAPD, and she was mainly looking at the lyrics, and she was mainly questioning about that. Please note, not enough information was reported to show what could have been said in the courtroom in regards of this. So I will just be summarizing what was presented. Tar drew attention to the lyrics while examining Jody Little. She makes notes of the lyrics. Who shot ya? Cause you know it wasn't me. I was 10 toes down whenever you had beef. Boss. This heavily implied that she cannot have been talking about herself being a shooter. During my cross-examination, During cross-examination, JL, Joe Little, was asked about other lyrics such as sucking dick behind my back, who was real on her knees, etc. So we go on to give that exchange. Again, not a lot of information was given in regards to this testimony. So here goes. Did she talk about getting on her knees and sucking dick? I did not commit lyrics to memory. Can I see the lyrics? MG approaches the witness stand and walks away before JL had finished reading. JL responds, "You're walking away. Can I read the entire line? I read 2 words." MG reapproached the witness stand and JL was reading the lyrics out loud. "Read it to yourself, ma'am." JL, "I apologize for reading out loud. Your contact with the neighbor, Sean Kelly. You were a neutral investigator trying to be honest, aren't you? I'm going to object when you say I was trying to be honest. It implies that I didn't succeed at being honest when I know I was honest. You're going to object? I didn't know you had the ability to object to my question." The judge shouts out at this point, "Mr. Meg Thee Stallion," and the judge calls for a sidebar. Now, I'm not going to put this part into the final thought section. I'm just quickly going to touch on this because in all my investigation into this case, in all my research, what has been reported frequently is Meg Thee Stallion's behavior. He was, if anyone has lost Tory the case, it would be him. The fact that, it's probably just my own personal thing, but I wouldn't call someone that you're representing your client. I will always address him by their name, etc. But he always calls Tory his client, and he made it very impersonal and hard to relate to the jury that he actually cares for this guy, and and he wasn't just paid to do this. There is so many subtle things, but he has been admonished many times in regards from DA Abbott, Alexander Butt, who has admonished him and basically said that he has been threatening and saying a lot of things under his breath. It wasn't a pleasant thing to read being reported, and if anyone that had a hand in helping Tory lose this case, I believe it's definitely him. I don't think he was the best lawyer for this, in my opinion. But anyway, we're gonna go into Eric Culberson's direct examination. In the direct examination, this was Meg Thee Stallion's or the defense witness, and Eric Culberson is Megan Thee Stallion's former hairstylist and celebrity. Not hairstylist. My bad. Former stylist. He was being asked questions in regards to the night because he was actually at Kylie Jenner's mansion before they all dispersed to where this unfortunate incident occurred. So here it is. Here's the direct examination. MG goes on to say, "How do you, Meg and Kelsey, protect yourselves without security with you?" EJ goes on to respond saying, "We protect ourselves. We have taser, mace." MG responds, "Any other weapons?" Not that I recall. "What about a handgun?" Not that I recall. "Have you ever seen anything that resembles a firearm in Kelsey or Meg's possession?" Possibly, but it's none of my business. MG asks, "How long were you at the party for?" EJ responds, "I remember Corey Gamble insinuated to wrap up the party. This was before Tory even arrived to Kylie's, which I think was around 8 or 9. I repeatedly told Megan we had to leave and that I don't like feeling like the last black people in somebody's house." I can relate to that. Take us through what was happening at the party. Were you drunk? I do not drink, and I was already on alert. I saw Megan, who was intoxicated, and made a slight comment to Kylie Jenner at one point after Kelsey said to Kylie, "You are fun, you are vibe." Meg followed by saying, "I'm really glad because I thought you were lame." Wow. Cross-examination. What is Kelsey like when she's drunk? Kelsey is just a little Tasmanian devil. He a short, wild party starter, but she has a lot of bark, so she can cuss you out. Deputy District Attorney Alexander Bott goes on to ask, "Ever seen her with any bite?" EJ responds, "No." What was your role with these two women? I help them when I can. In this case, I helped Kelsey to lie down in the same room where the three of them left their luggage. I only packed Megan's bag, not Kelsey's. Did you see a gun in those bags? EJ, I don't recall. What happened next? When Tory arrived, both Kylie and Meg were happy to see him. Meg started drinking again with Tory. Then I noticed Meg's energy shift from fun Megan to irritated Megan. Meg can be aggressive when faded past a certain point. Okay, redirect goes as follows. I think you said Megan is a different person when she's drunk. Yes, when she's past the fader point. Was she past the fader point that day? Yes. You said that you didn't like being the last black people in someone's house. What did you do after this? I was just trying to get them to leave the house. Meg didn't want to leave without Tory and told me to move their luggage from his car to Tory's. Kelsey and Meg left with Tory's driver first, and Tory was still at the house before they left. I pulled up behind them and told Kelsey to text me when you get home. I am irritated by the notion that I felt that I left before Meg and Kelsey. No, I was always meant to drive them home. Tory wasn't the plan. MG, how did you first meet Tory? At the Rock Nation brunch. MG, what did you think of him as a person when you first met him? Before I knew Tory, I thought he was an asshole. I didn't care for him too much, but since we were with him through quarantine, seeing how he was with Megan, I realized he was a good guy. Did it ever seem like Tory was dangerous? No. MG shows a photo of the bloody luggage and LV bag from the crime scene. The luggage was located in the back seat of the passenger side. Is this where you loaded the luggage? This is not where I originally loaded the luggage, no. Have you seen my client with a gun? No. Ever heard him discuss firearms? No. Has Megan ever told you he has guns? No. Have you been around Kelsey when they are fighting over a man? No. In the recross examination, Alexander Bott, I ask, have you ever hung out with Tory without Megan? No. Ever been in his car? No. When you're loading luggage into the trunk of a vehicle, did you check the front console of the car? No, I didn't check. Did you see the big gun he has tattooed on his side of his chest? No, I never looked at his body. What a weird move. Anyway, trial rulings were prosecutors attempted to add felony tampering charges based on the alleged bribery of Kelsey. I would also, because this would open up, if that was accepted, this would have opened up because 1 million is such a big withdrawal. It would have opened up its finances being assessed and all those things. So yeah, but the Judge Hereford denied their motion and said it was too late. During the AM session, prosecutors asked for an extra day to present the case or permission to rest, and then reopened if they are able to find unidentified witnesses. Tar argued there has been significant due diligence with respect to this witness and Judge Hereford granted the permission to reopen if trial schedule permits, saying, all right, let's see how far we can get. That was day 6. Day 6 was really revealing to me. I think going through that bit by bit, I think the lyrics to in the song, in regards to her sucking dick, it's the precise reason why there's a lot of rumors about this importance, because it seems like this was actually a feud. This was actually a thing between Kelsey and Megan that they were actually fighting about, and it seemed to add from that questioning, etc. It seemed to add validity to the fact that Tory Lanez side is arguing that their fight was about the relationship between between Megan and Tory, unbeknownst to Kelsey, and Kelsey finding out and lashing out as a result of finding out she was already on alcohol, as established by Eric Culberson. And it is plausible that she could have lashed out and her and Megan were fighting. That is extremely possible. I think the fact that you could, for Cabral's testimony as well, it is very possible that she was saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" to Meg, but for anyone thinking she is saying this because she shot her, I think you gotta be fair and balance it with, it is possible that she saw, let's say she didn't see Tory shot her, she saw her being shot. It is a natural concern to ask the question, are you actually okay? Whether Tory asked it because he didn't testify, we will never know. So they disregard, like I personally don't think he don't think he said anything. He wasn't even close to Megan to even ask the question from the video, because he was actually on the other side as he was getting arrested. Like, it's just not possible for him to be shouting over the car. Like the car was blocking him. It's just not possible. However, we see in the video where Kelsey is coming out of the car, so it's possible she could have been saying it then, and she said it again with Cabral. I just don't find with Cabral questioning her and the other officers questioning her, and she's limping away. And this is why this case is so dangerous for misinformation, because it's bad enough that you have the lawyer making the argument that Tory said something, and because it was reported, people were like, okay, yeah, Tory was interested in this and that. We have to look at the evidence presented here, because not only do we have one vantage point of what was happening between Kelsey and Officer Cabral's body cam arrest, but we also have another vantage point, and I believe it was another officer on the scene that was taking Megan into custody. And in that body cam, you can see Kelsey walking past her from the point that she was being arrested from. You understand, where she was being taken to custody before she said, "Megan, you okay?" on the fence. Can't be any more conclusive than that Tory, it is just not possible for him to have said Meg whatever. And that is the tricks that the defense was trying to use to sway the jury to believe that it wasn't him that shot it, when, with all evidence considered, it's hard to not think of a probable chance that he did shoot, and he has no case. I will play devil's advocate again. I will say, for whatever reason, I think maybe for hearsay reason or whatever, we don't have the volume of the body cam, so we can't hear what was said outside of what Kelsey said and the other arresting officers was saying. So we don't hear anything of that. Maybe nothing went on, or maybe there was confidential information being shared between the officers, so that had to be removed. Aside from that, there's nothing really pointing with Officer Cabral there to say, no, I didn't hear that. And there was, she is attest, she was there. She's attesting to this. I didn't hear him say anything, and I couldn't gauge his. I'm trying to say it's possible that she could not see these things based on what was happening, based on her taking Kelsey away. It is entirely plausible, and it's not a grand, in my opinion, a grand conspiracy to keep Tory Lanez down. I really think it was as conclusive as the body cam footage as just presented right here. I just don't find it possible that Tory was actually saying what MG tried to say when asking the questions. Now, Eric Culberson's is revealing. It's revealing so much. It actually shows there was actually a valid reason for there to be an argument between Kylie Jenner and Megan Thee Stallion, because she was taking jabs at Kylie, and they were also in the pool before this even ensued. So it is extremely plausible that she did say, "Get out of my house," after that, because she's not gonna take that with the person we know she is. After inviting her into her home, she said, "Nah, I'm not taking that anymore." That is possible, and with Megan being drunk as well, it's very possible that she was just out of it and was just saying whatever came to her head. All these things are possible, and the fact that she was actually telling Tory to leave corroborates with what Kelsey was saying. Does it matter though? I mean, no. No, on the grand scheme of things, I don't see how it matters. And my opinion is, this is about whether Tory shot Megan in the foot. The only possible reason for Kelsey to shoot Megan in the foot would be for this fight. So I understand the need to bring it in and try to serve that reasonable doubt. That's their job. I completely understand. And this is where I do refute when Meg said why it does matter. Why it matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At the same time, the fact that she said on lyrics, "Who shot you? You know it wasn't me." Like, all of that there. I find that plausible. I find at the time as well, I find it very, very plausible that she was angry about this, writing all this down. If we were to take lyrics to mean anything, that she wrote all this down and says, "I didn't do it, and yet you're not protecting me. What's going on?" sort of thing. So I can understand that. Let's move on to the craziness of day 7, because this is where everything just, if you thought this trial was crazy, everything just changed at this point. And I mean changed. On day 7, we saw Sean Kelly, Detective Stogner, Diaz, and Reddy Zepeda take the stand and give their testimonies. We're gonna go through them each by bit. Sean Kelly was the first one up. He basically says, MG says, "Talk us through all that happened that night." "I was asleep in the back of the house. There is a large driveway when people often stop to talk, and I suddenly woke up due to disturbances and noises. There was a lot of shouting. I headed to the back balcony of window and asked them to leave before calling 911. I saw 2 women violently fighting by the car. I saw a flash, and I believe it came from one of the girls." MG proceeded to show a pic of the back driveway and had Kelly draw a rectangle of the vehicle, of where the vehicle was and his vantage point. The first thing I saw was 2 girls fighting. They were pulling their hair and hitting each other. It was quite violent. Then they were separated and she got into the passenger side. They were still fighting and she was kicking. Then I saw the driver exit the vehicle wearing all black, join the fray. I was scared and asked my son to come into his room. I could only see the top of their heads and saw what I thought was the girl that was shot to be kicking the legs. "Did you see a gun?" "I never saw a gun, I just saw a flash." "Where was the flashes coming from?" "The girl, I believe it was the girl first." "Did you see a muzzle flash?" Yes, about the same time, the smallest individual got out of the car. The small guy out got out about that time, all shouting. After the smallest guy got out of the car, I saw more flashes. He was angry. He was making lots of noise. I want to be clear, these flashes started with the girls. You mentioned earlier that the shorter guy got out of the vehicle. Did he run to the fight? To be exact, I saw two gentlemen getting out of the car, with the shorter one getting out second. He didn't run. He stepped out of the car into the fray. Did you hear anyone say dance bitch? No, I never heard that. Did you see the shorter guy taking the gun from one of the women? I never saw that. The shorter guy was very angry and shouting. The flashes came from him, but I must say I never saw a gun. Do you remember stating in interviews with our investigators you saw the shorter guy trying to take the gun? Yes. Then what did you see? I saw the short guy as he stepped out of the car and he joined the fray. They were fighting. They were all pulling each other. And when did you see him try and take the gun? I didn't see him say, "Excuse me, can I have the gun? It's my turn." What happened next? They were all violently separated by the taller man. But when the fireworks started, my client was still in the car. Yes. Were the shots fired after he took the gun? Yes, I thought it was just fireworks. Okay, so all you said before, there was no struggle for the gun. I believe the girl shoot first, but I do not know if she had a gun. I believe it was fireworks. So only the one was shooting? I said that they were both shooting. Who was the first shooter? The girl, but they were all fighting. The shorter guy was pushing and fighting both the girls. Everyone was fighting, even the driver. Then 3 of them were beating her, and the girl that was limping was not fighting back. Sir, did you see a short guy with a gun in his hand? Yes. Then everyone started beating one girl, and to me it appeared they were gonna throw her in the river. It appeared to me that when I was on the phone that they were trying to kill her. I heard drivers say the police are coming, and they put the woman in the car and left. Okay, so now we move on to the cross-examination, where Alexander Bott, the DA Alexander Bott, is cross-examining Sean Kelly, who was the defense witness. So it says, "Were you the person that called 911? Yes. Did you report a woman shooting to the police? I didn't report a woman shooting. I reported a group beating on a woman. I said to the police that they were beating girls and that the chap in the back got out and started shooting a gun. Were his arms outstretched? Yes. What was he pointing at? He was firing everywhere. How many shots did you see the short guy shoot? 4 or 5. He was going crazy. He was really agitated." Alexander Bott played home surveillance audio of the gunshots. "I saw the woman on the ground kicking all the time after the shorter guy was, like I said, shooting. When these gunshots were shot, did you see the gun? I never saw a gun. I was way more focused on protecting my son while this was happening. She was crawling and stumbling across the road. Tell me more about this girl you said was shooting and had stumbled from the vehicle. What did you see?" "I see what appears to be the girl shooting into the car. Then, when the shorter guy was with the girl on the ground, he was yelling just a torrent of abuse. It was a torrent of abuse, and the shorter guy was the loudest. There is no such censorship in the courtroom. The jury needs to hear what he said. It was all N-words, mother effers, and F this, F that. And this was directed at the victim. All of them. He was going crazy. He was really agitated. Who fired the first shot? I believe the girl fired the first shot. Did that seem a bit odd to you that the defense investigator started recording after you had already made several statements? This whole thing seemed odd to me." Redirect examination. MG says, "Did you state when you first..." Okay, sorry. Did you state when you first saw fireworks, was it by the female? Yes, I believe the girl fired the first shot. Prior to hearing anything, when did you see my client get out of the car? Your client got out of the car pretty much as it all happened. Recross goes like this. What was the shorter guy acting like? He was highly agitated, shouting and lots of swearing. It's crucial we identify the shooter. How sure are you regarding who fired the first shot? I am not sure at all if the girl was shooting a gun that night. I never actually saw anyone with a gun. You testified all through this trial that there were 4 to 5 shots coming from the shorter guy. Did you see him? See a gun on him? He was holding something and it flashed and made a noise like a gun. You are excused. Brilliant. So, okay, Officer Diaz takes a stand. Officer Diaz's testimony was really short, where the main point of the question was to solicit or confirm why Diaz did not ask Kelly for a description of the shooter that night. Detective Stogner takes the stand. Direct examination. MGs asked, did Mr. Kelly see who was holding the gun? He specifically said he could not tell who was holding the weapon. Did you ask Megan if Megan had been intoxicated that night? No, it seemed she had been at a party and I knew alcohol was likely to be consumed. Did Megan tell you about any physical altercation with Kelsey Harris? Based on what she told me, no, she did not say a fight occurred. Do you have any knowledge about interactions at the bus stop? No. Do you have any proof that she called a manager? I do not. Had Megan mentioned anything about George Floyd in regards to why she didn't respond sooner? She didn't specifically mention Floyd, but she had mentioned something to the effect of because police were shooting black people, she was afraid. This wasn't on your report, was it? No, it wasn't. The cross-examination was as follows. Kavita was the one doing the cross-examination. Detective Stogner, who had Meg identified as the shooter during your questioning at the scene? Stogner responds, her friend Tory Lanez. Did you question or talk to Jaquan Smith? No. What about Kelsey Harris? No. Did Megan mention or indicate to you that Tory had tried to give her money? She did mention some talk about money being offered by him. Yes. What was Meg's state during your phone interview 4 days after the shooting? She was very calm, somber, and I would say upset about the entire situation. Randy Zepeda takes the stand. So Zepeda is the criminologist that was here to rebut the DNA evidence. So let's see. It says, do you agree with the expert testimony that if someone fired a gun 5 times, they would leave DNA behind? Yes and no. You could leave DNA behind, but there's also a possibility they won't leave any behind. Was Mr. Daystar Peterson's DNA on the gun from the scene where 5 bullets were fired? We simply don't know. Do you agree with the expert testimony that 4 DNA profiles on the gun has to be female? No, I disagree. There is nothing that would explicitly tell me a female has to be included. Are there circumstances which DNA will be void or diminished? Yes. What are those? What are the examples of these situations? If you are in a swimming pool, it definitely cleans your hands. You would have significantly less DNA on yours, just like if you washed them. If the lawyer argues to the jury that the defendant's DNA is not on the gun, is that accurate? No, it also wouldn't be accurate to say Len's DNA was on the gun. Trial rulings. The jury heard today about Tory Lanez 2017 criminal case in Broward County, Florida, that ended with diversion. The evidence was allowed to be introduced to the jury after defense has said that Tory had never been on probation. As Megan had claimed, Tory offered her $1 million for silence when he was on probation. However, this allowance was conditional, as the jury were only permitted to hear about the other charges brought, in this case, drugs, etc., but not about the gun charges in that case. Defense clarified when the jury were out of the room that the gun belonged to the mother of Tory's child, and his diversion lasted 2 months. Meg Thee Stallion argued that diversion is not probation, and that the judge should give an instruction to clarify, which the judge agreed with and will include this in the jury instructions to clarify. Juror 63 had to be excused and was replaced by an alternate juror 95. Now, day 7. When I said it was wild earlier, this is what I meant. I'm gonna start with the DNA profile, because this was a massive thing during the reporting. There was no conclusive DNA on the weapon, and there was actually a very plausible reason. I think it was said right there. Actually, it was right there when it says that swimming pool can wash DNA. Now, this question was asked also this answer was easy to say that Kelsey's DNA could not have been on the weapon because hers was washed. So there's no way her DNA could be on the weapon. However, flip that. Tory was also in the pool per the Instagram video. He was swimming with Kylie Jenner and Megan at the time. So it's not possible as well for Tory's DNA to be on it. And this is the reason why it's inconclusive. This is why no one's DNA could actually be matched. And all of the DNA has been washed. So that's why there was none. The GSR, all of those things were after the pool. So let's imagine the shooting happened right at that moment, and for some reason both of them decided to jump in the pool. My guess, that would also wash the GSR off, based on what's being described here. I also want to highlight Stogner's as well, like the fact that Stogner also opined the 1 million and say yes, she did mention that, and this was 4 days after the shooting. So on the scene, he kind of placed Tory on the scene saying, yeah, he offered money, and it goes back. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And the bribery charge would have probably stuck as well. But I could understand why the judge said no, because it would be so. I mean, if they brought this and they knew this evidence at the time, if they brought this, it would have been allowed. But bringing it now, it's just like, oh, you can't just bring this evidence out to the jury and let them know, oh yeah, he was bribing, and then that, actually, let's include it. No, it's too late. Like, the jury already heard he's bribing. It's not material. It's not helping his case. Yeah, 100%. But charging him on that would be so prejudicial. It's unreal. It'd be so bad. It's unfair. Really, they should have been more diligent to find this out beforehand. It's also important to also highlight the fact that the police really failed to do their jobs here. And I mean, they only asked Tory, but they didn't ask questions from Jaquan, questions from Kelsey. That's poor. I mean, over here, like in the UK, the police are, in my opinion, they're very thorough. Like, anything that happens, straight statements, straight everything. Everyone at the scene is being asked, no matter who you are. Even if you were just walking by, they'll ask you. Everyone is being rounded up. So for it to be a situation in which not everyone was asked, you have to question, what was the police really doing that night? Is it really that bad over there? Is it really that lackadaisy that they're not diligent? When it even comes to a case of someone getting shot, like I don't know, that to me, like, especially specific for this case. I'm not saying this is the all LAPD across the board. I'm just wondering why this one was so bad. Like, it didn't look good. But anyway, on to Sean Kelly's Oh my God, what a testimony. What a testimony. And I cannot for the life of me get it out of my head. So everything that has transpired from that testimony has given me the impression. I'm gonna draw it and illustrate what I mean. So basically, imagine this is the car. This is the car, right? That's the car. That's the this is the US system. So that's the driver's side. That's the passenger side, and that's the passenger seats there. Yeah. So passenger, Tory on the other side. Now we have Meg, Kelsey, Tory. Tory is still in the car, right? So Tory is still in the car at this point. She's already out. These two were fighting. They were skirmishing. According to Harris, who's watching all of this. That's why he got a good vantage point of the girls. This is how it would look like to him. Because on the video, it was the other way around, and the police did get there quite quickly after his call. You know, he was calling while this fight was going on. So, sorry, as this fight started, basically. Like, he basically called, and then they were there immediately. This was a white neighborhood, Hollywood Hills. So it's plausible that they were actually really quick on the scene. So he's seeing this from that position. And Kelsey shot into the car. It said right there, he was shot into the car, not at Meg. That's very key. That is very key. He saw everything. He was sober. He was sleeping. You could argue it was days, so he probably no. He was sleeping. He woke up. He was awoke. His son was terrified. So he was aware of his surroundings. And Meg, not Meg. In this case, she shot into the car. At this point, Tory gets out and goes over. I can actually imagine what he said being plausible. And Jaquan, who is not there in the courtroom, comes out of the car as well and goes over. Now, the part that I find is plausible is the fact that Kelsey shoots the car and Tory's mad because this is his car now, his money, everything is being violated. He's been violated by Meg before, and now his car is getting violated by Kelsey. So he's just lost it completely. I can actually believe everything Sean said about him being agitated and just completely losing it. We have to understand that point and then move over and then get into the scenario where he's now joining the fray, pushing her apart. When Jaquan comes over, though, is a mystery to us. But let's say he comes over. By this time, Tory took the gun and just shoots Meg 4 times. However, this is the key point. A lot of people say he was shooting warning shots or up into the air. No. The testimony was he was firing everywhere. So first went to the air, probably here, probably here, probably here. Remember what I said in regards to my friends who saw the wound. It just hit the floor and probably grazed her. So he may not have meant to hit her, but he took the gun and started shooting all around. This testimony from Sean Kelly has actually proven the prosecution's case that it was just negligence and it was assault. That's all we needed. He put the gun right into Tory's hands. The fact that he goes on to say at the end, I never actually saw anyone with the gun or anything like that, you can dismiss that and say he's not credible. I say no. The night was traumatic. Also the fact that he's having to recount all of this and he just wants to get out of there, which is why I'm not surprised it's actually recorded as him saying brilliant, because he's English and he probably didn't even want to be there as well. He just came to because he was subpoenaed. But his testimony is very credible. Jaquan coming into the scene and breaking them up makes sense. Megan started limping at this point. That has to be established. When Jaquan was into the scene, remember he says 3 of them was beating on her. He didn't see what was happening. It just seemed like they were all trying to find out if she was okay. I think at this point Tory was swearing and doing all those things to say, fuck, I can't believe I just did this. Fuck. S word, all of that. Like, start going mad at everyone. Like, oh, you messed up everything. I had this, you're getting agitated. I actually believe that. And I think, the fact that the girls are not talking about the fight actually proves it happened. It actually proves that Tory actually did it. And that sounds so weird, but hear me out. The girls are not saying anything about the fight happening because it's embarrassing. It's shameful. If we're going back to what I said earlier about shame, this is it. These are 2 friends that are fighting over a guy they slept with, and one of the friend that was supposed to be a good friend did this when they had a code not to do anything like this. It is very plausible. Yeah, shit, we both messed up. Let's not even talk about this. Like, it's not like they both colluded and say we're all messed up. I think it's just a shameful event all round that they just would keep it to themselves. And again, it's like, I mean, I don't think for men is the same. I don't think for men is. I think men may say, yeah, we were fighting over some, we were fighting over that. I think that is extremely plausible. A plausible thing to actually think that they would say it. But for women, when it comes to matters of these things, it's very intimate to them, in my opinion. Some people don't care, some people do. But I think when it comes to regurgitating and saying again, I think it's something that, especially in this kind of context, is even more, like with eyes on you, it's even more pressurizing. So I can understand why they didn't say it. But the fact that Kelsey denies it vehemently, the fact that Megan says, it was Tory, and the fact that the neighbor has even said, yeah, like they're fighting, she shot into the car, that makes sense to me. That why all of this kicked off the way it did, because I don't think Tory even gets out of the car or even does anything if there was no shot whatsoever. I don't think that even happens. So I can see why people defend him vehemently and say, but in the end, he is the one that is going around saying, I didn't do this, when it's clear as day he did. So I don't feel much sympathy for liars, in my honest opinion. He's been found out. End of the day, he's been found out. In my opinion, the evidence is so convincing that it's him that you can't still be thinking he didn't do this. Support him and say, yo, bro, you were hard done by because the situation wasn't your fault. I do believe it's not his gun, because if Kelsey had been caught on the scene with the gun in her hand, it would have been her, because it's an unregistered firearm. I find it extremely weird that she was the first one to fire the shot, and she was the first one to have the gun, and all of this, I don't think it happened in the car. I mean, they're saying, one side is saying this all was happening in the car, like all of those things, like, Tory was in the front seat firing, etc. No, what this unbiased witness, no affiliation to either of this party, what this unbiased witness is basically saying, saw you buy the car. You kind of have to be out for that to be the case. And he got out of the car. So the pulling of the hair and everything must have happened after in my opinion, I think it must have happened after he had gone away from the window or something like that, when he was making the call to the police, when he was going to make the call to the police or anything like that, and then he was reporting. So that must have happened around that time. I don't know. He never really opined to anyone's hair being pulled. I'm just going by a text message that Kelsey sent. I don't think she sent that in any collusion or anything like that, or with a friend of mine that, you know, I'm gonna get Tory back by saying he pulled me. No, I think she was being genuine in sending that text. That text, they did have a fight, because of, again, how heated the whole thing is. Like, and again, that's why I even believe even more that Tory was the one that shot, because why else would you turn around to go and go at Kelsey? Again, she kicked it all off. He's agitated at this point. He's blaming her, and then he pulls her by the ear, this and that. Probably didn't pull her out of the car. I think she's lying there in the September interview. Probably didn't, but it definitely did happen. It's just the details was a bit different for that purpose, you know. When she was reporting it to the DA. That's just my opinion. In regards to them trying to throw her in the river, I don't think that's. I don't think that was accurate. I think what was probably happening is they were trying to take her into the car because the police were coming. I think that was more accurate. It's just that was just far-fetched to me. But I think he blew the case. I think he gave a lot of context right for the case. It wasn't happening the way it happened, and if Kelly was missing from this, we wouldn't know if Tory might have got off. Tory might have got off because nothing was established to say he had the gun until this guy stepped in. In the end, the fighting doesn't matter. All of those things doesn't matter. Yes, it does had, but the minute he said the girl shot first into the car, case was done. Because what he said after that was 4 shots from Tory. Let's say you don't even believe. Let's just put it like this: 4 shots, 1 shot from Kelsey. What are the odds that Tory could shoot 4 times and miss 4 times, and Kelsey could shoot 1 time away from the thing, away from Megan, and that is, and she hit? Come on. Like, I think that's conclusive. I think that's really conclusive from there on. This case should not have been as polarizing, in my opinion, as it is. Looking into this case, yes, I believe it's Kelsey's gun because of Eric Culberson. I think the questioning should have been a lot better with Eric Culberson when he asked, "Have you ever seen, you know, a firearm in Meg or Kelsey's position?" I would have just said no. I would have just said, "Have you seen a firearm in Meg's position?" No. "Have you seen a firearm in Kelsey's position?" You know, I like, you know, because his answer was possibly, but that's not my business. You know, if you broke it down, probably would have found out, oh yeah, Kelsey has it or Meg has it. Not my business. But we didn't know. We didn't know what it possibly was. So to me, I was like, the fact that she had it first, according to Sean, well, there is only 2 options. You either had to grab it from you either had to grab it from Tory's console, you know, out of a fit of rage, and then go after Meg after that, and then shoot into the car, or you just always had it and it was in your bag that was bloody, that was meant to be in the back, but it was in the front. How he got there, that was never spoken about. There were so many things in this case that's just, but it is conclusive. Like, regardless, he was found with the gun at the scene. So my theory doesn't matter if it was Meg's gun or if it was Kelsey's gun or Tory's gun. That doesn't matter. I can think what I want on that. Whether he shot her or not, I think that couldn't be any more conclusive. A lot of that just refuted everything Kelsey said to the DA. Well, not everything per se, just even how he got into the front passenger side. It didn't happen. He got out of the car and went, and came to them. He was in the back seat. So yeah, it's just that's all I have. That's all I have to say on this case. There is one elephant in the room in this case that a lot of people haven't mentioned, or even been a conversation, and this should have been a really big conversation, and that is the snitch culture in the black community. It's so prevalent that I could have lost Megan in this case. There were so many people that could have testified that didn't in this case. I spoke with a hip-hop journalist and a really good friend of mine, Justin Hunte, also goes by the alias The Company Man, and he does the All Out show on Shade 45. I spoke with him in regards to this case because we actually had this conversation in Spaces after the case, and it was interesting to hear so many diverse opinions on this case from Tory's fans and Megan fans as well, and neutrals. And it was so divided that we just had to talk about it again now that everything has settled. So we done that interview. It is on the second part of this series that I'm doing. So thank you so much for tuning onto this video. Thank you for making it. If you made this far, thank you so much for giving me your time. I really do appreciate it. It is a long video. I try to condense it as much as possible, but there's so much details in here that I wanted you guys to have, rather than just put it through into the description and make a short video. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do watch out, do subscribe onto the channel, because again, more and more content is coming. If you like deep dives, if you like knowing about cases like this that is just strange in nature or just not talked about, follow this channel and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like the video, don't forget to share the video. It's gonna help us out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for your time and take care. Have a good new year. Thank you guys, all of you that has been supporting me so far. I really appreciate all that you have, given me, especially your time. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.